All right, so the redistricting battle's heating up again with control of Congress hanging in the balance. Now we're talking about Indiana because the House of Representatives there in the state passing a bill that would allow the Hoosier state to move forward with redistricting. Republicans there have proposed a new congressional map that would redraw the lines of two districts. You see right there, there's still two blue districts there, potentially giving the GOP an advantage in next year's midterms. The bill then goes to the Republican-controlled Senate, and then there's a whole lot of back and forth there and pressure as well for them to get it done. It would then join the states like Texas and California that are redrawing their lines. Luke is hanging with me on a Friday night. Chris Stirewalt, host of the Hill Sunday, senior fellow at the American Enterprise Institute. Hello, sir.
Professor.
Let's look at this a couple ways. You've got two blue dots there out of 9, and that's what they're going after right now.
Right. So you could call one dot Gary, and you could call the other dot Indianapolis.
Right.
And for Republicans, they feel the pressure to do this in Indiana because they've screwed it up, right? So they kicked off this thing down in Texas, and they said, we're gonna grab 5 seats, and you dumb Democrats, you're just gonna have to lump it. And they kicked off something that now is not adding up to very much for Republicans, so they're having to squeeze blood out of every turnip, and that means Gary, Indiana, and Indianapolis, Indiana.
So I'm looking at this, Chris, and if you go to the left side, if you look at the, where are we? Over here, left side. I see a whole lot of blue back in 1990, early 90s, and now you're looking at the Hoosier state there potentially all red. Tell me the story here. What happened over time in a once sort of purple Midwest state?
Democrats lost white working class voters. In 2008, you see there, that was when Barack Obama won Indiana, the first, the only Democrat to win Indiana since 1964. And it was like, is something happening here? But what we have seen subsequently in Indiana is that as white, rural, and small town America got more and more Republican, that's a lot of Indiana, and that's reflected in what you see in the map now.
By the way, Turning Point is putting some attention behind that race, trying to persuade the Indiana Senate to push forward these
and they don't want to do it because people hate gerrymandering.
Right.
And they were able to sell it in California because they said, we have to do it to get back at Texas. In Indiana, it's a tougher sell because you're saying, we want you to do something people hate and that is unpopular and is going to put some of your own members at risk, but we need to do it because we have to win the House of Representatives, and that's a tougher sell.
So let's go to the map all across the country as we talk about California and Texas. If this is a 9-inning game, Chris, we're what, like the bottom of the 6th right now, probably somewhere in there, and what's the score?
Well, if we net it all out, we're probably talking about, if the election were held today, that this will have been worth nationally, thanks to the Supreme Court's decision, be nationally worth probably 3 seats maybe for Republicans. Because the Virginia Democrats just put out their map, and they're doing double back at the Republicans, what the Republicans are doing to them. So we will have gone through all of this. We will have subjected the people of the United States to all of this. We will have screwed up all these representative lines, and we will end up with a shift of, we're talking about 2 or 3 seats.
It's all race to the bottom stuff, right?
Totally.
And you get both parties saying it. But the reason why they are going through all of this, as you and I both know, is because of this. It's the slimmest margin in modern political history, and that 3, in theory. Now we'll see what the world looks like in November and the economy and all sorts of things. But in theory, that could be the 3 to swing it, maybe.
Yeah, if the election was held today, the 3 wouldn't be.
You think this looks like that?
Yeah, it's like 30 seats.
Okay.
Right, and so whether you lose the majority by 27 seats or 30 seats, you've lost it big. The Republicans started this when they were envisioning a year that was going to be like 2022 was for Democrats. We're going to play it at the margins. We're going to cut it here. We're going to cut it there. The Republicans have a bigger problem, which is they need a directional and attitudinal change in the country. People are very down on the incumbent president. They're very down on the direction of the economy. They're very upset about a lot of things. And so they want to put an old-fashioned whooping on the party in power. And Democrats are more than happy to stand around with their hands out and say, vote for change with us.
You'll be talking about this on Sunday morning. You have the best Sunday show in the biz, Hill Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern. You have the governor of the great state of Oklahoma.
He's also the new chairman of the National Governors Association, and he's trying to do some interesting bipartisan, sort of nonpartisan work to get the states together to be a source of solution and power to balance off Washington, and it's interesting to me.
10 a.m. Eastern here on NewsNation. Chris Stirewalt, host of the Hill Sunday. Thank you, brother.
Heck yeah.